All in all, pretty good.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I could please have a motion to approve our meeting minutes, regular meeting, May 23rd. Questions or comments regarding minutes? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Do not have any updates to this evening's agenda, and I have no correspondence to share for the good of the order. Comments from you, Superintendent?
I have a few for you. First, I wanted to highlight the first annual Portland County Olympiad. It's held this past Monday at Cortland State. We had 192 students from Portland County participate in the Special Olympics like event. Took a real team approach to plan it, pull it off. If you didn't get a chance to go, it was one of those really feel-good days where everything came together from the organizers, from the parents to the media that were there. The kids had just a wonderful time, and that's will be the first of many. And so we will only expect it to improve and grow over time. But I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes sharing what a great experience that was with you. The second thing I had, we had talked about school supplies a while ago, and we had been given the charge to come back and talk with you about the district's ability to take on that responsibility as opposed to putting it on our families. And I'm happy to report that we are moving forward with a plan that will have school supplies for 23-24 school year purchased by the district. We had all of our building leaders share information from each of their buildings about the typical school supplies that we're asking families to purchase. And it was well within our ability to support that. So we're going to be doing that in the fall, which will be a real nice addition and something that will benefit our families. So I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to move forward unless you tell me differently. That for the 23-24 school year, I'm recommending that we not accept tuition students, new tuition students. The reason is really, there's a couple reasons for that. First is that we're being inundated with phone calls from area families who want to bring their child to Homer. We talked about in the past what a wonderful feather in our cap that is, and it is, but the really, you hate to make decisions based on this, but the financial impact of that for our district is fairly significant. We have between students at that go to the Truxton Academy Charter School and staff that we have here that have students coming, and that's part of their contract to come tuition free. That's a sizable dollar figure that we're not recouping in state aid. And to take on additional would not only be a financial impact, but it will also really hinder our ability to do the best for the kids that we currently have. And so I'm not saying forever, but my recommendation to the board would be that you give me the ability when folks reach out to me about that to say that we're not accepting tuition students for the upcoming school year. Thoughts, questions?
Where are they proposed coming from?
All over the place, but there's a district close to us where we're getting a number of those. I'm getting a number of communications weekly, and we're just, it will really put a strain on our ability to do the fine work that we're doing if we continue to do that. The tuition that we charge is a state rate. It does not come close to the cost of educating a child. And again, we try to be thoughtful for our school, you know, for our community members, that we're doing our best. And I believe if we continue to take tuition students, at least for the next year, we might be betraying a little bit of that trust, so I'm recommending that we not do it.
Would we continue with tuition students that were currently?
We would grandfather those people that are currently in,
How
yes.
many do we have that are not employees, children?
I'll have to get you that number.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like, oh, okay. So they would get to stay, we're just asking to be able to say no?
If, from this point forward, if people reach out to me, and they would.
Would you anticipate revisiting this in another year?
I would recommend that we do.
Stems the tide.
Do we have a board policy that addresses tuition students?
Yes,
Or we need to
it's
bring
up.
that
Yep,
before the board
Yep.
for approval to
yep,
adjust?
we'll do that at the meeting on the 27th. Any other questions about that? All right, and then I had also, last thing I was going to mention is I was going to talk about the student selection process for the board, and Janelle is going to help me do that, but we'll wait till the informational portion because I've included that in the document for you. Okay, Janelle? Thank you.
We're going to move now to new business. If I could please have a motion to approve the warrants and claims auditor's report. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? A motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? You have a investment summary and a budget status report for your review. I could please have a motion to accept the reports from the Committee on Preschool Special Education. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to accept the reports from the Committee on Special Education. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the athletics, club sports.
So,
Questions or comments on the unified, sports?
We're excited about the opportunity for our kids, for sure.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the varsity club donation. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the local businesses donation. Questions or comments?
This is fun. This is fun. Anyone get to go to that eventually in the arts? And see the food? Like, it's fun. They make it out of toilet paper and stuff, like, it's neat. I think it's great for the business to support it.
Additional comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the FFA donation. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the disposal of items.
Second.
Questions or comments on the disposal?
Is this one gonna be replaced also? This is the ice machine here. This one does get replaced.
We need to have a nice meeting. Yeah, yeah.
It's good for boobs. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the bus lease resolution. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve the internal audit and corrective action plan. Questions or comments? Michael, can you walk us through a little bit of the corrective action plan?
Sure, so every year we go through the process of having two audits. We have an internal audit, which is provided to look at our internal procedures. They do test purchasing, they do test extra classroom funds, But the biggest portion of this is when the comptroller will visit a district, is to make sure that our procedures, our job descriptions, and our activities are following what we've set forth in policy. So in this year, again, there were no major issues to be addressed. We had some taken off from last year's internal audit. The ones that we're looking would have kind of a moderate look, again, is for written procedures, again, for our claims auditor. If you go through and look, if you need a cure from insomnia, the comptroller puts out various reports every week across the state for school districts and other municipalities. They are making sure that, especially in the claims audit area, that you have your written procedures. We had administrative procedures that we were working with in our office, but they wanted something concrete and in writing that anyone coming into the position or any board member, if they were asked, would be able to follow the information there. So that was one of the medium, if you will. The other medium, again, is looking at cash receipts and deposits and making sure that they're being done in a timely manner. Timely manner, according to the auditors and the comptroller, they're deposited within 1 or 2 days. Anything that exceeds 1 or 2 days, they're seeing is not compliance. We do have to send our money for deposits up to, with the exception of taxes, up to the central business office in BOCES, and sometimes they are not deposited within that 1 or 2 days. That's something we are working with our treasurer up there on. So those are the big components. I will give a shout out to our extra class treasurers. In the past, you may have seen 10 or so items listed for extra class, and they've really been doing a nice job working with both the external and internal auditors, their recommendations to make sure things are going well. And as you can see on there, there's about 3 that are listed for extra class, which is outstanding for them. Any other questions?
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? I could please have a motion to approve the district extra class refund?
Second.
Questions or comments? Michael, you walk us through why there's a refund?
Sure. So the environmental club was reimbursed for the outside pavilion, the outside classroom. So if you haven't had an opportunity, I'll do a plug for that. Over by H-Tech, we had a groundbreaking, but the grand opening, if you will. So in that process, we were working with the environmental club, and anytime they received a grant, that would offset our district funds for that. In this, they included a $2,000 grant from Rotary Club, which was meant for something else. So we deposited it, and then they realized that that shouldn't have been deposited along with the funds for that account. So we are asking the board to approve returning that $2,000 back to the board.
Additional questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? I could have a motion to approve personnel.
Second.
Questions or comments regarding personnel? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Informational items, Superintendent?
Yes, we've got 3 informational items for you. The first are some fundraising updates, 2 from the high school. Our youth in government will be doing a fundraiser to help support the YMCA cycling event in July. And the National Honor Society already planning for the October 13th, 2023 homecoming dance. The second is the 2023-24 board meeting schedule. On that document are the board meeting dates. A couple that I want to draw your attention to. The first is Wednesday, July 5th, 6 o'clock. That'll be our reorganizational meeting. We'll have that at H-Tech. And the second one is the board retreat. Talked about it before, but certainly we want to communicate it often as we get closer to our board retreat. It's July 24th. It starts at 8:30 at the Aurora Inn on Cayuga Lake, and more information will be forthcoming as it relates to the retreat. The last thing, and I mentioned it earlier in the meeting, we talked about the formal process by which we will identify a student to be on the Board of Education. The document that I've been working on with Janelle and Mr. Van Etten outlines the process that we will be utilizing. I'll ask Janelle to speak to some components of it in a minute, but one of the critical aspects that we thought was important is that we obviously have an interview process that would involve students and an interview panel at the high school, followed by an interview panel of the superintendent and at least one, if not two members of the board and another administrator. But we wanted to have the students share their thoughts about different aspects of why they want to be on the board. So Janelle, do you want to speak to some of the questions that we're asking students to fill out in the application itself? Sure.
Alright, so for the first one, we asked students to identify and discuss what you consider to be one of the most difficult challenges affecting kindergarten through 12th grade public education. You should indicate the steps you feel that should be taken to solve or alleviate the challenge, and not should be limited to 300 words. In the second prompt, we have, in what ways have your previous experiences prepared you for this position on the board? Include your experiences with both peers and adults, and limit your words to 950. The last prompt, we have please list your highlights of experiences, activities, achievements, honors in each of the following areas, and only list acquired accomplishments since the beginning of the grade 7. And then they can include their academic achievements, if they have work experience, any extracurricular activities, clubs, things like that. If they've been doing music, if they're in art or music or journalism, they can include that as well. And then we asked, why do you want to serve on the board, of course, and we said about 250 words roughly.
So we'll have the application out to the student body. Obviously, it has to be a rising junior, so we'll do this process in September of next year or next year's student. But moving forward, we'll obviously have to give it time, and then we'll start this process in the spring. So we'll be talking to rising seniors in good standing that would be eligible to apply for this. And we would do the interview process in the spring so that they would be seated by the end of the school year, ready to go. And we put August 1st through June 30th as the expectation for student rep on the board. But what I'd like you to do is take a look at that document, give it a good read, and if you have any other questions about it, please feel free to reach out, but I'll bring it back on the 27th.
I think one of the things, my first point that will be important for students to recognize is the level of time commitment on their part. And I think Janelle can speak to that quite articulately. Janelle is putting a great deal of time and effort into growing this position, but for students that, like her, have a robust schedule outside of her school responsibilities, to appreciate what it takes to prep for meetings and the outreach and the representation they have in the district as well.
Any other thoughts? Again, go ahead, Keith.
Again, this is fabulous. I'm excited to see this continuing to move forward. Just a couple of thoughts, and I don't know how anything would be able to work in, but as much as we can have as much of the decision for this on the students themselves,
Right.
while still having some, necessary screening, is fantastic. So even, if there's any way that we can make as much student decision as possible, that's fantastic. And the other thing, that first question, which is great, and I don't know how you would do this, but is there any way that we can put that into some sort of a project for the board, so that fantastic ideas don't get lost? And if there's any way that we can put on this for the board, taking input from our students, and the challenge to be able to act on that within a school year, if possible, I would love.
I think that's a great idea. If they have identified something from their perspective that we might not have given thought to, trying to explore that in a more deep way, makes sense. I'll jot that down. Anybody else? All right, thank you.
That brings us to a portion of our meetings for community voices. I do have two signed up to be heard this evening. Donna Burgess. Nope.
Oh, Donna signed it, she was one of the retirees, I'm sure she signed it.
How about Kevin Williams?
Yes, my name is Kevin Williams, and I think I'm referring to, under new business 3.7 on the athletic club sports, the approval of a track shooting team, which I'm totally in support of. And I'm really thankful that the board saw that we needed this to compete with a lot of the other schools that have been signing on for this. Just a quick search in the last couple of days, I think there's probably over 70 or 80 schools that are doing this now. And of course, I'm aware of Naomi Randolph, who's been going off-site and on-premise to different locations. And I just think it's a wonderful thing that we'll be able to bring our talent back here and be able to compete on that thing with the Homer Central School District. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. What's that? We have a couple of options of different routing guns to use.
We also share your excitement and enthusiasm because we're also aware of this young lady's progress and achievements.
Wonderful.
Audit. Board committee reports, I think we're gonna hear from audit.
Luke, is there anything you wanted to share in addition to what Michael shared?
No.
Okay, that's our
A
audit.
week ago Monday, did all the stuff Mike talked about.
All right, I like that.
That's the report.
You can still be on the audit committee, Luke.
And then our
I haven't been invited.
district committee reports, we're gonna hear from Deason.
Yep. Mr. Hefner?
Over here.
There you are.
So, we received word from the New York State Education Department that we will again be, on the accountability list for next year as a target district, which means you have a school or schools within your district that are, considered what they call target support improvement schools. So, 4 years ago, the Intermediate School, was put on the state accountability list for the Hispanic subgroup, on the mathematics assessment. So what that entails is tomorrow, actually, I'm meeting with a representative group from the Intermediate School to begin the process to create our annual school comprehensive education plan, better known as the SSEP or SEP. And then this summer, the second part of that, because we're also a target district, we have to create what's called a DSIP, which is a District Comprehensive Improvement Plan, which has to be molded and modeled after the school comprehensive education plan that's made here at the Intermediate School. So we'll continue that work this summer. This is an ongoing effort, but we did receive word from State Ed that every building in the district met benchmarks last year on state accountability measures. So if we do that for one more year, and State Ed has written out these rules, we will be off the accountability list moving forward. So that's our goal. I assume, and I'm not looking ahead or planning ahead or trying to move the pieces too much, but the plan we have in place clearly is working. So I don't see too much change from last year's SEP or DSEP going into next year. If it's working, don't mess with it. So that work is ongoing and continuing, and you'll be presented both with the DSEP and the SEP in August for approval and placement on our school website and submission to state.
Questions for Jeff?
Board member activities.
Celebrate the excellent work of our faculty and staff, celebrating our honors banquet that might be the longest production we do all year, but they have moved through it, and it's great to see our students across the board celebrated for their accomplishments in various ways.
I know you were also in attendance kicking your water bottle down the aisle.
Okay, so it's super loud. And the part that, I was gonna leave early, Sonia knows this. I was gonna leave early because I was a newbie and I didn't know what I was in for, and I had a kid at home, separate driving, yada yada. But I had to stay because my son kicked my water bottle down the aisle, so. What I did notice though, and I found to be kind of like heavy, was that at the very, very end, we acknowledged the top 10%, which is the most outstanding ones in the school. And by the time we get to them, the auditorium is half empty. So that, I walked away thinking, well, I'm super glad I stayed to see that, but it felt wrong. And so I think we could do something different. I don't know how.
In our initial debrief, we talked about ways in which to stay true to honoring the students, but do it in a more thoughtful way. So we will be talking about that and we'll continue, because again, you don't want anyone feeling like they're anywhere too long. And 2.5 hours is a long time.
I think it was a little longer than that. I thought it was really cool they had the band in the beginning, but that part really just, it stung because I thought those children deserved, or students deserved to be recognized. And I couldn't imagine how it felt to go up on stage and know that it was like almost standing room when we began, and then it's like half empty.
Well,
By the time we got to
right,
that.
and one of the things we talked about as well is we have a separate ceremony for the top 10%.
Oh,
In
I did
addition
not
to
know
that,
this. Okay, I did not know that.
and so the question is that the right time to do it again? Right, that's one of the conversations that we
So do
started.
we have a separate one for athletics?
There's a lot of conversations that happen about ways to streamline it, and it'll include all those things.
I also went to Adventure in the Arts, and it was jam-packed here. It was awesome. I think our teachers do an outstanding job. I felt rushed. I was like, there's so much to see, and the talent is just amazing. That was an awesome night. The weather was beautiful. It's so fun to see people out and about again. I don't know what else I did, but I don't sit still long, so I remember those two highlights.
I attend both of those as well. The art show at the high school is fantastic, and we need more space for that, but a great problem to have again, but as always, incredibly talented students.
So the thing that often impresses me as I watch our music productions and our art presentations, these aren't necessarily naturally talented children. These are children that are exposed to great instructors. You know, we love music in my house. The husband and I are not musical. All 4 children were able to participate in various levels of Homer's music program. 3 of them in university received music scholarship. That is all from their foundation here and their exposure here. I have an art student, art people in my house. This is all taught here, you know, that kids will feel comfortable taking a risk and doing something they're not expert at, and there's not some requirement that you have to have some hidden talent to participate in this. I think our teachers really appreciate the value of giving instruction and lessons around the people that are going to go buy the art, the people that are going to go out and appreciate the art, the people that are going to buy the concert tickets, that are going to go to their school productions, that there's a benefit in incorporating a community around those that maybe have a natural gift or talent. So I have always appreciated, when you walk through the superintendent's office, the levels of artwork that are there, and you can see from the very young to the more developed what's happening in our art programs. I thank you, board members, for highlighting that. I'm often struck by that. So when we go and do our budget vote, the work that we get to be exposed to, that's really instruction based. So I'm incredibly proud that we provide our students with those opportunities. Additional board member activities.
That just reminded me of one thing I forgot to mention, to highlight the art department one more time, is that they have our students send out invitations in the mail that they design themselves to community members to invite. So one of our neighbors came and brought their young kids, and that was great to watch because one particular was amazed at all the different displays and everything, and he says, I can't wait till I can do this when I'm in high school. And that was worth the whole price of admission there, to see young children excited about what they can do when they're there.
Upcoming events for you?
Yes, we have a number of events, as we always do. Obviously, the one that there are many folks in our community looking forward to is our graduation with sunny weather and 74 degrees on Saturday, June the 24th at 10 o'clock. You have your gowns, for those of you that are going to be in attendance, you have your gowns. I would take it out of the wrapper early to get the wrinkles out. But it's always a wonderful day. But between now and then, a lot of great activities coming up for our students and our staff. Students' last day, if you remember, June 21st, next Wednesday. And then our staff will be here through the 23rd. So a lot to happen in a short period of time before the construction vehicles start.
Same pregame for us, graduation, same room for the board meeting.
Yeah, we'll meet in the same place. Downstairs, I'll send out information, but it's downstairs in the high school, in one of the coaches' offices.
That's where Sonia dresses everybody.
I'm gonna help them with their hoods.
Yeah, looking at
Hey,
it.
I don't know,
You're
I
gonna have to
know.
come back every year.
It might help us do it.
All right, if I could please have a motion to move to executive session for the purpose of discussing the employment history of a particular person.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So you can stay.
Thank you.
You do.
Board, we are gonna go back.
I know, I asked. Wow. Why did you tell us? Where are you going? See you.